lots of, I mean, it's a very cluttered, in some people's eyes it's a very cluttered shed, but I've got lots of memorabilia I've been collecting since the early 80s, and I think, you know, it's 2013 now, so it's nearly 30, or over 30 years, and I like to look back and look at a poster from the early 80s and remember what I was doing and who I was with, and the cars that I had. And in the case of the HR, that was the car that started me in the car scene. The HR that you see is a car that I built when I was 18 back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I built it for 10 years here in Adelaide and around Australia. I used to show the car and showed it at all the car shows and hot rod shows around the place. And in 1989 I sold it, and I had a chance in 2003, somebody found the car, or knew where the car was. It was up at Loxton in South Australia, and my son managed to buy the car back, which we thought was pretty cool. And it was a bit of a wreck. It wasn't in a very good condition at the time, but everything that I'd put on the car in the day was still there. So we brought the car home, and over the next 5 years my son and I proceeded to strip it back to a bare shell and rebuild it. The car turned out a lot better than it was when I first built it, because with age and a little bit more money you tend to get a better job done, obviously. I had the car painted this time by the son of the guy that painted the car 30 years ago. So there was it was really neat having my son building the car with me and the painter having his son paint the car. It's a 65 Futura Coupe, and I'm the third owner. It's done 80,000 miles. I bought it off of a gentleman that had had the car since 1967. So he'd had it from 67 through to 2000, and I bought the car. I was building the Mustang at the time, and I didn't have anything to drive, so I bought the car just as a cruiser, and thought that I would, once the Mustang had been finished, I would probably just sell the Falcon, but my wife and I fell in love with it. It's a really nice car to drive, so we basically hung on to it. If I like a car, I like a car, and I think some people like a particular marque, but I'm into, whether it be Fords or Holdens or Porsche or Mustang, Cortinas, English cars, American cars. If I like a car, then I tend to go after it and try and get hold of one. I suppose I've got different levels of cars. The HR is a top sort of show level car, and is fully detailed, right, every nut and bolt, right through to, it's a modified car, but it was fully detailed. The Mustang is a concourse car, built to very original standards, the same sort of thing, but everything's original, nothing was changed. So it was all about keeping that to a concourse level for judging. And then the Falcon is sort of more of just an everyday driver car. There's no detailing on the car. The little Mark 1 Cortina is the same, that's just sort of an everyday car. And then you've got the race car, the Mark 1 Cortina, which is, again, it's all about performance with these sort of cars, so cosmetics are not as important. It's got a nice paint job, but the finer detailing and finish work is not quite the same, because it's all about how fast it goes around the corner and lap times. So you spend all your money on the go department, not the show department, I suppose. Yeah, there's lots of different things in the shed, and I've got this yellow flag that sort of hangs up in the corner there, and it was made for me by one of the wives of the guys that I race with, and about 10 years ago I was racing at Winton Raceway, and I passed a car under yellow, and in racing that means you end up in front of the stewards and you end up getting fined. So I paid my penance, and when I got back to the hotel that night, of course, one of the girls there had made me up this flag for me to remember the event by. So apart from the $200 fine, I had a little flag to remember it by. I like something, then I don't see the point of, you know, I have a long-term affair with things.
My Garage Rules is proudly supported by Sprint Auto Parts, proudly South Australian owned and operated since 1984. And you pull it, you save, you betcha.